So a lot of times when we're talking to people about LinkedIn strategy, we say a big part of LinkedIn strategy takes place off of LinkedIn, because you have to be clear on who you want to connect with before you even start looking at LinkedIn filters.
Welcome to the Making Sales Social podcast, featuring the top voices in sales, marketing, and business. Join Bryn Tillman, Stan Robinson Jr., and me, Bob Woods, as we each bring you the best tips and strategies our guests are teaching their clients so you can leverage them for your own virtual and social selling. Enjoy the show. Welcome, everyone. It's time for Making Sales Social Live, and it's coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios and brought to you by AskSSL.ai. I'm Bob Woods, and I'm joined by Bryn Tillman and Stan Robinson Jr. How y'all doing today?
Great. Thanks.
Howdy.
Excellent.
Yes,
stuff.
excellent. Thanks, Bob.
Good. So when LinkedIn first started, and I was there, it was all about networking, and that was more than 21 years ago. Now it's so much more, and yet at its heart, it's still about networking. So we're going to talk about networking and sales, and specifically about how it's crucial for you to know who your first degree connections are connected to, so you can start those all important conversations with those people. So before we get rolling, any initial thoughts on that, guys?
Well, it's the reason why I am so obsessed with LinkedIn, because it is the only tool in the entire world where you can search and filter your connections. And so I'm really excited that we're going to talk about this, because there is nothing else out there that can help salespeople leverage their social proximity in order to gain access to prospects, buyers, and referral partners.
Exactly. Yeah. Stan?
Yep, just LinkedIn was originally created as a professional network, and it's maintained that identity to this day, in spite of the complaints sometimes that it's becoming more Facebook-like, but it's still a professional network. And it's just great to see one that's maintained its identity and its utility as a professional network. And as Bryn mentioned, the power of this tool in helping us to leverage our networks more effectively.
Exactly. So before we get started with this snowball into a fiesta, it's important for you to know that you need to know, rather, who falls into your ideal client profile, or ICP. These are, details about the people who you want to help, and specifically about who you want to help too. So this could be location, this could be industry, this could be title, it could be a combination of those things, it could be all of those things, it could be things that I'm not even thinking about right now. But you have to build that ideal client profile, because you really need to know who you're looking for before you reach out to your first degree connections to ask them about their connections. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels with people who may not necessarily need to help you in terms of either prospects or even networking partners. And a prospect ICP and a networking partner ICP, which really isn't an ICP, it might be a IRPC or something like that at that point. That might actually be two separate things as well. So obviously keep all of those in mind as well.
So let's jump in.
We are jumping in. Number one. So this is all going to involve searching, and searching again for your ideal client profile, or if you're looking to network your and whatever. Number one is search by relationship. So Bryn, do you want to go ahead and expand and expound?
Yeah, I mean, we can start, I guess, with the big general search, right? So as you mentioned, you want to identify your ICP. And a lot of this is taking a look at how your current clients position themselves. What are their roles? What are their titles? What geographic location are you serving? And industry is interesting because you could put in manufacturing, but there could be 4 or 5 subcategories. So you're going to take the time to build out those filters. So now relationship. Today we're talking about who knows your prospects. So we're not going to talk about the first degree connections that helps you to identify who you know that meets that criteria. Where we're going to focus is on the second degree relationship button. This allows us to search and filter all of our connections based on the criteria, and we can get a list of all the people we want to meet with whom we have a shared connection.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, Stan.
Yep, not much to add there. Just to reemphasize, Bob, what you said about the pre-work in terms of knowing your ideal customer profile beforehand, because that's when the LinkedIn filters can really work for you. So a lot of times when we're talking to people about LinkedIn strategy, we say a big part of LinkedIn strategy takes place off of LinkedIn, because you have to be clear on who you want to connect with before you even start looking at LinkedIn filters.
Yeah, exactly. But LinkedIn is very powerful when it comes to its filters. That's and LinkedIn has built up its filters into something that once upon a time, I mean, it barely even had filters, and now even in the free version of LinkedIn, you have access to some pretty powerful filters. If you go all the way to the Sales Navigator route, which we're actually going to be talking about a little bit, the filters there are just amazing, and you can absolutely have your mind blown by some of the things that you can find in Sales Navigator, and the people you can find in Sales Navigator too, based on who you want to meet and learn more about.
Love that. All right, next one.
So now we're going to get a little bit more specific with the filters, because it's fairly new, I think. Search by a particular filter that is called connections of.
Oh, not new. This has been forever.
Connections of has been. Oh, I'm actually getting that confused with with another one. But yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, connections of is why I'm here. This is it, right? Connections of is the magic. So when you are whether you're in the free LinkedIn or in Sales Navigator, this is an absolute incredible tool, because now let's say you've got 12,000 second degree connections that match your ideal prospect. Now I'm going to say, who does Bob Woods know that meets that criteria? And it goes down to 72. Right. Mm-hmm. And so now I can reach out to Bob and say, hey, Bob, you're connected to quite a few people I'm looking to get in front of. Do you have 10 minutes where I can run these names by you? Right. And so when you search by connections of and all of your criteria, and by the way, this could be referral partners, this could be clients, other vendors that sell to the same customer, but that's not a competitor. There are so many people that can really make some of those strategic introductions, and being able to search their specific connections to build that list is very powerful.
Exactly. And LinkedIn allows you to do a lot of the work beforehand to make life easier for the person you would like to give you an introduction or referral, because we've all done work with clients and they were super happy with what we did for them. And we say, one of the ways I work is by referral. Do you know anyone you think could use our services? And usually with an answer like, let me think about it.
Yeah.
And this way you can produce a list and think about it for them. And as Bryn said, then just walk through the list with them and make their life easy.
Yeah. Fewer brain cells spent equals hopefully better results in that regard. So absolutely. So numero tres is search by referral partner names, which is kind of what we've described already. It's just now you're going to be thinking more along the lines of people who you are actively having referrals with, essentially.
So yeah, I love this one, Bob, because this is a fabulous opportunity to find strategic referral partners. So there's lots of ways to do this. One of my favorite ways to find these partners is to ask my clients, who else are they working with? Because now they've come in pre-vetted. If your client loves them, you can feel comfortable referring them and they'll feel comfortable referring you. If the client says, oh, I don't really love my CPA, you can say, hey, I've got some other CPAs that my other clients have really liked. I'm happy to make some strategic introductions for you. So that's great. But now let's pull LinkedIn into this and this list. So exactly, Bob, what you said, we've just sort of talked about connections of, but here's what I recommend. Reach out and I'll say, hey, Stan, I'm really looking forward to our networking meeting next week. Please feel free to look through my LinkedIn connections, build a list of people that you want to meet, and we can whittle them down to a few meaningful introductions. If it's okay with you, I can do the same. And so now we set it up in a way that it's expected you're going to come with a list. Now, if it's on, if you're doing a virtual networking meeting, simply share your screen with one another. Great. But if it's in person, I'm going to go back to my old school ways where across the street from my office, when I had a physical office in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, was a California Pizza Kitchen. And about 3 times a week, I would have networking lunches and I could walk there and it was awesome. And I would actually print off the 3 pages of connections that met that criteria. And I could sit there. We didn't have to open up the computer. And it was just a nice conversation. And I literally would just take notes and vice versa. So I love this. I'm going to share one last thing. When you create that list, there is a URL at the top. Every single thing you do on LinkedIn, unless it's a pop-up box, has its own unique link, its own unique URL. So if you build a list of connections, of filters, and you click on the first degree filter, you're going to see your first degrees. But if I go ahead and copy that link and send it to Stan, and Stan clicks through, he's going to see his first degrees. So if you run up against someone who has closed down their network, this is your way around it. While you can't see the list, by sending Stan a list of exactly the criteria and first degrees, you could say, hey, Stan, here's a list of the people you know that I'm looking to meet. And he's going to be like, how did you do that? But it's really simple to do. And really, it's a game changer because I can't tell you how many people come to us and say, yeah, but they closed down their.
Yeah, we just had it happen last week. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is your workaround.
Yeah. Yeah. So just one quick note about that URL. It's going to be long. It's going to be gangly. There's going to be so much stuff in there that you're just scratching your head about. You need to copy everything out because otherwise it's not going to work.
So we can throw in, you could create a Bitly or like a Google Bitly or whatever those shorteners are. And that could be helpful. And by the way, the same link you would send to everyone. Once you have your ICP, your ideal list, that same link goes to everyone because when they click through it, it's there.
That's powerful, powerful stuff. So let's get to number 4 now. So we're going to back away from the really specific person-based search. Say that 3 times fast. And we're going to get to, no, thank you. I know. And we're going to get now to searching by company. Yeah. You love it so much, Bryn. Why don't you take it?
Well, unless Stan, do you want to start?
Oh yeah, Stan, do you want to start that?
I was going to say, Bryn, you can run with it.
She was so excited.
Their filters with she was ready. So go ahead and jump in, and we'll.
So this blows people's minds because they don't recognize that they can do this. But if you go into LinkedIn and Sales Navigator, you can do this as well. But in regular free LinkedIn, if you go into the search bar and hit enter and then go to the all filters, change your people to companies. So this is going to give you different filters. You're still going to have industry, but you're going to have company size in there. And how I love this. So I can pick all the industries and location and company size. And then at the very bottom, you're going to see first degree connection. And this is going to give you a list of every company that meets that criteria where you already have a connection. So why is this important? Well, before we searched based on our ideal customer profile based on a human being. So we might miss a ton of opportunities because we may have a non-decision maker that is connected to a company we would like to be prospecting. But that's fine because we could go in there with my little message, hey, Bob, my company just recently assigned your company to me. I noticed that you are connected, and I'm wondering if you'd be open to a quick call where you can help me understand the culture and the landscape. So it's not the right person necessarily, but it's someone that can help you socially listen and understand what's going on. And potentially, if the conversation goes well, create an internal introduction into that right person.
And even develop a champion for you within the organization as well. So in other words, someone who doesn't have, ultimate sign off or purchasing authority, but someone who could essentially be your cheerleader and talk for you within that company as well.
Oh, yeah, that's fabulous. So when you do that, make sure you don't just show up. Same thing Stan said earlier before. Don't just show up and say, who else in your company should I be talking to? Go into that company and search and build the list of the 3, 4, 5 people that you'd like to bring into that conversation. So instead of just saying, so who else should I be talking to? You could say, typically, the next step would be to bring in these 3 people. Do you happen to have access to their calendar? And it's a game changer in closing that next step.
And for Sales Navigator users, which I'll toss this to Stan really quick, searching by company and developing that list is even easier, right, Stan?
Yeah, Sales Navigator includes so many additional filters that you can use. And I know in the next one, we're about to talk a little bit about filters like posted on LinkedIn and change jobs that show you activity that you can't see with free LinkedIn.
Or even LinkedIn Premium without Sales Navigator.
Yeah,
correct.
Good point. Yep. Yeah. So
I definitely wanted to use that point as a bridge because number 5 is going to go straight to Mr. I probably shouldn't call you Mr. Sales Navigator because LinkedIn will probably claim copyright.
Mr. Sales Nav.
Sales Nav. There we go. Yeah. Mr. Sales Nav.
Sales Nav.
So searching by active LinkedIn users on Sales Navigator. I love this one. I think it's especially powerful because just because you're on LinkedIn or just because you have a LinkedIn account rather doesn't necessarily mean that you are on LinkedIn. So active LinkedIn users are the people who are actually using LinkedIn and hopefully on a fairly regular basis, even maybe once a week or whatever. But Stan, why don't you go ahead and take that away with a little bit more details about that and how to do that and why you would do that.
Yeah, since we're all limited on time, you want to make the best use of your time when you're on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. And one of the challenges is you may do a search, it comes back with 200 search results, and who do I start with? Well, it's a good idea to start with people who, as Bob mentioned, are active on LinkedIn because they're most likely to see your requests to connect and to be posting and see any comments and anytime you tag them. As Bob just said, just because they have a LinkedIn account doesn't mean that they look at LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So Sales Nav does give you the ability to search for people who've posted within the past 30 days. And there are few better indications of people that are active on LinkedIn than if you've taken the time to post. So that's one. And then another one that goes under the radar sometimes is people who've changed jobs.
Yeah.
So Sales Navigator will show you people who've changed jobs in the past 90 days, I believe it is.
Yep.
And that's an opportunity to start a conversation by congratulating them. And it also just gives you a window into potential opportunities in the company that they left because someone else had to take over their position and in their new position, depending on the relationship that you have with them.
I love it. There's 2 opportunities.
Yeah.
Two what we call two with every change job. Yeah, go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that's what we used to call in the radio business a twofer, like 2 for Tuesday. That's exactly. Yep.
That's awesome. I'm going to throw one other thing, which is not searchable. And I know we're talking about search, but I believe that this is a game changer with active on LinkedIn, which is the little green circle that's at the bottom of the picture, right? If you want to active, that means they're on right now. If it's a solid green, they're on desktop. If it's green with a white dot in the middle, they're on mobile. This is a fantastic time to message someone because they are on LinkedIn at this very moment.
Yeah.
Would that LinkedIn would let us search for those, but
Oh my gosh, that would be
hot.
Juicy. My friend Dana says juicy all the time. That would be juicy.
Oh boy. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap things up. So we want to thank you for joining us for this episode of Making Sales Social Live, again, sponsored by AskSSL.ai. If you're with us live on LinkedIn or YouTube right now, we do this every week, so keep an eye out for our live sessions. If you're listening to us on our podcast and you haven't subscribed already, you may want to think about hitting that subscribe or follow button to access all of our previous shows and be alerted when new ones drop. And like everyone says out there, drop us a like or comment as well. We absolutely love those. We do 2 shows weekly. We do this one and then our Making Sales Social interview series, where we talk with leaders and experts in marketing, sales, business, AI, and so many more areas than you can shake a stick at, whatever that means. If you'd like more info on our podcast, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcast. So with that, when you're out and about this week or any week, be sure to make your sales
social.
All right.
That was the best one so far.
Best one yet, without a doubt. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, great weekend, whatever it is you're doing, whenever you're listening to this. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Don't miss an episode. Visit socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Leave a review down below. Tell us what you think, what you learned, and what you want to hear from us next. Register for free resources at linkedinlibrary.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play. Visit our website, socialsaleslink.com, for more information.